Okay.
Hello, I'm Pastor Rachel Toon, and I'm pastor at Wittenberg University, and I'm here talking today with Zara Tickner, class of 2018, right? Yes,
hmm
and so hello, Zara. This is just a general conversation with Zara. She's, as a recent grad, we stay in touch, and she was also Interfaith Senator, so we're going to talk about Passover in a little bit and her experience. But most of all, first of all, Zara, how are you doing, and where are you at? Where are you living right now, and how are you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing well. Right now I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. I work for ExxonMobil, and I'm about to move to Houston, hopefully. Um, I work from home right now every day, 5 days a week, and I'm doing all right. Socially distancing for sure, but still trying to do some activities to keep my mind going.
Your family's doing well?
As far as I know, no cases.
Yeah. What have you found sort of the hardest right now during the stay-at-home orders?
I think my personality, I'm fairly independent, but I'm a very much get up and go kind of person. And so it's really hard for me to not be just going to the park to run or going to the stores just to wander around. So it's just an adjustment that I really have to stay inside when I would rather be out doing a million and one things.
Are you not allowed to run in the parks? Are you not allowed to run in the parks?
They're discouraging it at this point.
Okay. We're having a little freezing here and there on the
Yeah.
screen, but that's okay. We'll just keep working away at it. So as I mentioned, you'll be celebrating Passover. It begins tomorrow night. Tell me how you would normally observe Passover and how that's different, but just to start with, how you'd normally do it.
Mhm. So normally with Passover, we have a big Seder, and the synagogue puts one on usually, and then that's usually the second night. And the first night, I would go with my parents. They'd have friends over, family. It would be a big to-do, and we would have a Seder. So it's kind of like a service throughout the meal. And we'd all be in person, talking, laughing,
Mhm.
talking about how the Jews escaped Egypt. And it's one of the heavier holidays, but there's also a beauty to it because we all kind of come together.
Mhm.
Clearly with social distancing, that is not not okay this year, just for everyone's health and safety. So this year, which is kind of weird, but we're doing virtual seders, and I'm just logging into the synagogues both nights. So the first night I'll be logging into Fort Worth, and the second night I'll be logging into my parents' synagogue back home.
Oh,
So it'll be fun to see people virtually because I haven't seen them in a long time,
yeah.
but certainly different. And then I bought some matzah and some other Passover favorites to try to make food on my own, but which I would in the past. But in the past, I would get rid of everything that, like bread, pasta, things that have flour in them. That's called chametz. With the stay-at-home order, I don't really believe that that's feasible or in economical. So I'm just kind of moving that stuff to one cabinet and then sticking to the matzah, the nuts, the veggies, the stuff that's okay to eat during Passover. We're just
Right.
keeping to the one cabinet this year.
There are so many ways we have to adapt right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
To fulfill the traditions or the ways that we're observing the holy days. Um, and when I always think about the Seder and your stories that you would tell, I always think about that family time. And you mentioned that the one night would be at home. And that's really, it's a little different, isn't it, than say a Thanksgiving meal, where yes, we want to be home with our families at Thanksgiving, but it isn't we could be with someone else at Thanksgiving. And this is,
Mm-hmm.
I always think like this is a time when you truly come around with your family, and there are certain things you do during the meal or with your closest friends. But I mean, it's really important being together, isn't it?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. It's important for a lot of holidays, I think, but Passover is definitely one of the bigger holidays. So it's one that really draws people
Hmm.
out.
What's your favorite part of, especially those two Seders, those two nights?
My favorite part, mm, that's such a tough question. I think my favorite part in general is being around a lot of people that I wouldn't normally get to see and kind of catching up. But I guess my favorite part is probably the four questions. So the four questions are kind of like, why on this night are we doing things a little differently than we are all other nights? And of course, for the Passover story, it's different than today, but with today, we are doing something differently right now than we would any other time. And in a way, we're going to be celebrating lives and celebrating that we survived this and that we come out and that we're going to be stronger than ever once we reach the end. So it's kind of similar.
Mm-hmm. Those questions take on a new meaning, don't they? Were you
Definitely.
were you ever the one to read the questions?
Yeah, so they normally have the youngest or the child reading the questions. So for a while, I was the youngest. And then my sister was shy, so I usually would help her too. She's
Oh.
6 years younger than me. But,
Huh. I bet she misses you right now.
well, I don't know. She does, but she's also a senior.
Yeah, that's true. So I found in my own faith that just like you mentioned about the questions having new meaning in this situation, I found that in my own faith, the message of this season takes on a whole new meaning, and it helps me during this time. It's comforting during this time. And I'm wondering um, what you're anticipating with the Passover might be comforting for you um, given the stay-at-home order, given the uncertainty, just those questions that people have right now.
Yeah, I think so. The meaning of Passover or the story behind it is a constant to me. And it's, something that we've done it since we were, as long as I can remember. It's been done by my ancestors' ancestors, etc. So it kind of gives me a sense of normalcy despite all that's going on. So it's weird that we're here, we're social distancing, we're not talking to other people in person the way we once would, but the words are still the same, and I'm still able to think about the words and interpret them and apply them to my own life, which is something that I would try to do either way. So
Mm-hmm.
I think in that regard, it's nice that I can take this time to reflect.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that beautiful, to think about the constancy of it? And in good times and difficult times, in times of transition, in times of illness, the Passover has been celebrated.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I think you froze again.
oh, sorry. But I think that's a really amazing insight to think about. And also, in all of that, God's steadfastness, right? I mean, from the
Yeah.
very beginning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think even throughout my life, religion has kind of been more of a constant. It's something that, you transfer from grade school up into high school, you go to college, but I was always figuring out my identity and my relationship with God, and it's obviously evolved since I was little to now, but it's been a constant of me and my conversations with God and my prayers and my reflection. So,
Mm-hmm. It's something I always appreciated about you as Interfaith Senator, that you valued that spiritual part of who students are, and that you brought a spiritual perspective to difficult times on campus. So if there was an event nationally or internationally, you would be the first to say, let's do a vigil and let's come together across different faiths and light a candle and say a prayer and share a word of comfort. And I really always appreciated that about you as an Interfaith Senator.
thank
And
you.
yeah, and your leadership for all of us on that was really neat. And so I think that I think in some ways, even talking about it now on this video is a way for us to cross all those miles and share together as we as Christians are going through our Holy Week and you're beginning
Yeah.
Passover. You know, we both are drawing on our deepest resources for getting through this time. And I've really valued that friendship from you that's honored the faith in others while lifting up your own faith. And I've really appreciated that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So will you do any other practices during these days?
I don't think so. I think this is a low-key Passover than some in the past, but meaningful nonetheless. So a little more lonely than usual, but
yeah,
we're going to make it out better than ever. So
that's right. I mean, you're part of a worldwide community. And I think maybe that, I hope that in some way that brings a sense of you not being alone during the holiday, that you know that you have all these other people around you. And I just want to wish you a very blessed Passover, and with your communities that you'll be logging into for 2 days, to your family as well. And know that the whole Wittenberg family is wishing you well. And
thank you.
Yeah.
And happy Easter.
Yeah, thank you very much. God bless you.